Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find the latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. I posted a Make Them Suffer album review earlier in the week, so you should check that out if you haven't already. Obviously doing this one, and then we're going to be doing Polyphia's The Most Hated EP. Hopefully this will go out around the same time, both of them in simultaneous fashion. To go out as well. I hope to get also a bunch of live footage. I'm going to see This Wildlife and that sort of tour, as well as the Desolate Divine tour. So definitely stoked to get more video, especially live video for you guys. Also posting locals only, hopefully soon as well too. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit that thumbs up as well. Also make sure to hit that bell so you do get notified of anything audio addiction related coming out on the channel. And thank you guys for your support. It really does mean a lot. I still can't believe we're over 500 subscribers, and just keep plugging it out. So thank you guys for your immense support. So tonight we're going to be talking about Vault 51's new EP, Kid. So when the world begins to crawl, spiral down, it feels like I'll pull you out. So this record I heard about a little bit a while ago. My good friend Pat is actually one of the guitar players in Vault 51, and we were trying to arrange something for it to work out on the channel a little bit, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So I wound up grabbing this record because I was just curious on how it was going to sound, because he is in another band, but I wanted to kind of compare and contrast almost in terms of writing style. But I also wanted to hear this record as well, because I had some good local friends that went down to the same recording studio, and they both kind of had that sort of similar sound, I would say, in regards. But I definitely wanted to give this record a listen. I did listen to the first track, 36, and I was really surprised and definitely really excited for this new EP to come out, obviously yesterday or today, depending upon when you're seeing it. But I'm going to go through each track, give you my thoughts and opinions on it. I'm going to give some pros and cons, and then I'm going to give an overall rating. So the first track, like I mentioned, is 36. This one's the first single that they released. They also released a music video for this one, and they just recently released Wildfire as well for music videos. So definitely check those out if you get the chance to. But getting back to 36, I really like this sort of distant guitars in the intro. I definitely feel like it adds this cool little, intro effect. And also they had this sort of like clock ticking in the track as well, which I thought was interesting. And then I feel like the track kind of picks up after that point as well. I'm definitely liking this sort of ambience and sort of leads in this track as well. I feel like they add a lot of depth and a lot of character to the track, in my opinion. I definitely feel like the chorus kind of hits the peak of this track. I think every sort of verse and like pre-chorus kind of builds up to this chorus part, which kind of ends out very nicely and kind of plays out nicely as well. At some portions of the track, the vocalist definitely reminds me of Telly for The Word Alive. Just vocals were really solid on this track. In particular, I'm liking the guitar riffs in this track. They definitely have this sort of groove to it, and I definitely feel like the guitars are something that sticks out the most to me in this track in particular. I definitely feel like it's a great opener sort of track, and to kind of give an idea, and the idea for the listeners to listen to, what their sound's going for in that sort of alternative metal, sort of metalcore genre. I feel like they kind of have that sort of vibe to them, even like a little bit of hard rock in there as well. So we're going to move it into track number 2, which is We Don't Care. This one is another one of my favorite tracks. Really liking how this track kind of starts off right out the gate. There's no kind of like, intro part or interlude or whatever to start out the track. It just kind of gets right to the point. Really liking the melody lines of the vocals. I also like the back and forth between the sort of grittier style vocals and just the more cleaned up vocal style in particular. I definitely like the chorus a lot. I definitely feel like it has this sort of hugeness to it. It has this sort of depth to it as well. The verses create this cool kind of swing to it, and it has a great sort of energy to it that kind of backs the track as well. The vocal harmonies in this track also add a nice touch, more specifically in the chorus and the bridge. And the bridge definitely reminds me a lot of like a heavier version of Seosin in my thoughts and opinions. That's what I got out of this track. So we're gonna move it into track number 3, which is Magnolia. This one offers sort of a different change up to the other sorts of tracks. This one kind of starts off with like a clean guitar intro. The addition of piano in the verses were definitely a nice little touch there, and I also felt like it adds a different sort of spin and flavor to the track as well. The melodic parts definitely balance out the sort of heavier, more aggressive nature of this track as well. So there is a cool kind of back and forth balance between those two as well. Vocally are nice, definitely towards the end. I definitely feel like they went on kind of another level. I kind of wish that the vocals kind of took on that form throughout the track, not just towards the end, but I do like the ending a lot in particular. In my opinion, this track kind of lacks a little bit of a punch to me. In particular, just throughout, I really felt like the song captured me towards the end with the sort of acoustic guitar and the piano and that sort of like falsetto-y clean vocals. I feel like that kind of, if that was maybe a little bit sprinkled throughout the track, I feel like that would have come across a little bit better. It would have definitely had a bit more of an interest to me, in my opinion, and I definitely feel like it would have been in my top contenders as my favorite tracks off the record. So we're going to move into track number 4, which is Wildfire, like I mentioned earlier. This one, I guess I wouldn't consider it a single because the album was out today while I'm recording this. But you know, for album sake, I will not say that it isn't. But it definitely starts off with this sort of cool synthy intro with the drums. I thought that was really kind of an interesting spin on this track. The chorus definitely has this sort of hugeness to it, and it has this sort of melody that kind of grabs you in and definitely gets you excited for this track. To me, this track has that sort of Paris vibe to it, and it definitely sounds like a Paris song if it maybe were a little bit heavier. If Paris was a little bit heavier, let me elaborate on that. But I definitely feel like it was a really solid track. Cool bridge, definitely sort of a unique vibe to that as well. But definitely throughout the track had this sort of interesting vibe throughout. The melody lines were really cool as well. And then instrumentally is pretty diverse as well too. The added layers definitely brought this track together, in my opinion, and kind of, you know, gave a little bit more depth to it, as well as kind of just taking every sort of element of the track and just bringing it together to form kind of a unique track off the record. I would say that to me, this track is more of the black sheep of the record, or maybe not, but it was definitely kind of riding that line between really sort of experimental tracks. So we're going to move into track number 5, which is Morning View. This one is probably my favorite off the record, without a doubt. This one definitely favors the more melodic side of the record. It definitely has that sort of strong emotional attachment to it. It kind of reminds me of, really great emotional pieces off of, albums that I love. I wouldn't say it's like crazy emotional, but definitely has that sort of emotional feel to it, especially with the piano. It kind of has that sort of like ominous sort of feeling to it where, it definitely makes you kind of a little bit sad and kind of, pulls with your emotions, which I really appreciate. The pianos with the vocals definitely kind of, add to that mood as well. Instrumentally, this track is probably my favorite. It just has this sort of great orchestral value to it as well. And it has this sort of great ebb and flow throughout the track as well. Just with the vocals, I feel like it just fits with the melody and kind of the emotional pull that you were expecting in this track as well. The vocal layers were definitely really cool in this track as well to me, and I really think that this one you should check out more above any of the other tracks, in my opinion. So we're going to move into the last track, which is Sincerely Me. This definitely reminds me a bit like Crown the Empire in terms of its delivery and just its process. It kind of sounds like, almost a homage to Crown the Empire. Really liking the vocal tonality of this track, especially the cleans, just with the sort of gritty, sort of clean vocals that he's going for. The layering is definitely interesting, especially in the second verse. I feel like that definitely kind of made the tracks more interesting and kind of had that sort of pull to it as well. Definitely has more of an anthematic feel, which was different from a lot of the other tracks prior to this one. I feel like this one is just a bit of a switch up, in my opinion. I think the track definitely ends on a good note, and I think it's a pretty good closer track to end out the record. So, my pros and cons in this record, I feel like certain tracks didn't really land too well. Wildfire I thought was interesting, but to me it didn't have that sort of pull to it. Magnolia in particular, I would say, is, in my opinion, the weakest track off the record. It just didn't have that sort of like pull or interesting factors that made me like, oh, I like this track a lot. 36 had something interesting about it. We Don't Care had something interesting about it. Morning View had something interesting about it. The only two that I feel like kind of were a little bit lackluster were Magnolia and Sincerely Me. They just lacked that that uniqueness that I expect in this sort of genre of music where bands kind of tend to sound the same. So to me, I felt like those two were the weakest, but really Morning View kind of pulled this EP into another direction and another dimension for me. I really enjoyed this sort of, emotional pull to this track and just the different feelings that you got from this track in comparison to, 36 or We Don't Care. I felt like it felt more genuine and it felt more like more connected to the listener, in my opinion. So my overall rating for Vault 51's Kids EP, I'm going to be giving it an 8.9 out of 10. I feel like you should check it out. Again, if you're fans of like Crown the Empire, trying to think of what other bands kind of have a similar tonality, Paris, and maybe another one or two, but definitely those two bands kind of, to me, stuck out to me in terms of if I had to compare them to some band. I feel like those two bands feel very much in those wheelhouses. So definitely check this one out. Go check out Kid. I feel like you guys would be interested in it if you do like some of the more hard rock, alternative metal music going on in the scene right now. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts and opinions on it. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I'd love to have a conversation about it. Also, check out, like I said, Make Them Suffer's album review, and then Polyphia is also going to be going out around the same time, hopefully, so check back in with the channel for that. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure to subscribe, make sure to thumbs up the video. If you enjoy us a lot, we have a link to our merch store. We'll be hopefully doing another design really soon before the year's out. I hope to. If not, maybe something for the fall. That would be really cool as well. So my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.